Ever feel like your personality has taken a back seat over the years? Like you're not as vibrant or interesting as you once were? The good news is that developing a great personality as a woman over 50 is easier than you may imagine. In this video, I will teach you how to be more interesting using a technique I like to call the Standout technique. Why should you learn this technique? For one, college admissions officers are literally paid to identify applicants with unique personalities using this technique. When they discover that an applicant is better than 99% of people at something obscure, they call it a standout because it sticks out. In this video, I'll share with you the step-by-step guide to reignite your personality. People often tell you to just be yourself, but such advice usually comes from someone who hasn't truly thought it through. The just be yourself advice only works for extroverts who have a natural ability to light up a room with their presence, using social skills that introverts might comprehend, but struggle to execute in real-life situations. If you're not quite ready to transform into the queen of the party, you might find yourself searching online for tips to build a great personality, only to be flooded with ads for personality quizzes, self-help books, or even prompts to take up ballroom dancing. Personality can literally just be boiled down to the first few standout things people think of when they think of you. That friend who's known for her vibrant scarves, we can describe her as colorful, spontaneous, lively. That woman in your book club who's always sharing the most intriguing insights, insightful, articulate, engaging. The same goes for famous women. When we think of someone like Meryl Streep, it's not just her acting talent that stands out, but her grace and wisdom too. Or take Dolly Parton. She's not just a singer, but a symbol of warmth, kindness, and a touch of sparkle. The more memorable qualities someone has, the more personality they seem to possess. So what does that mean for you as a woman over 50? It means that no matter how many wonderful gatherings you host, how many new recipes you try, or how many exercise classes you attend, none of these things alone will give you a great personality, at least not in the way you want. What you should truly care about is being interesting to others, having engaging conversations, and being someone that people remember. Let me say that again. What you should truly care about is being interesting to others, having engaging conversations, and being someone that people remember. The most effective way to become someone that people remember is using a technique I like to call the Standout technique. This approach, originally designed for college admissions to help average students gain entry into Ivy League schools without donating their kidneys, can also guide you in developing a magnetic personality. Let's say you're passionate about gardening. Yes, gardening. I know it's not the most interesting topic, but just hear me out for a moment. You find the art of cultivating a beautiful garden absolutely fascinating. Now picture yourself dedicating a little time each day to nurture your plants, discovering what helps them thrive, reading up on the latest gardening methods, and watching videos that inspire you to create a lush landscape. You might even decide to join workshops or local gardening clubs to sharpen your skills and connect with fellow enthusiasts. In less than a month, you'll have invested more effort into gardening than most people ever will. Gardening might not sound like a big deal, but listen to this. You're talking to your new neighbor, and she asks you, "So, what do you enjoy doing for fun?" "Oh, lately I'm into gardening. It's so fascinating. I've learned a lot of interesting stuff about plants." "Gardening, huh? That's cool. What's the most interesting thing you've learned?" Here's a good one. Did you know tomatoes were once thought to be poisonous? Wait, really? Tomatoes? But they're so delicious. Why would anyone think they were dangerous? I know, it sounds strange, but back in the 1700s in Europe, tomatoes actually had a bad reputation. Aristocrats would get really sick after eating them. Wow, I had no idea. So what was going on? Were they just bad at growing them? Not exactly. The problem wasn't with the tomatoes themselves, but with the pewter plates they used for dining. You see, pewter contains a lot of lead, and when the tomato's acidity reacted with the lead, it released toxins into the food. Oh wow, that's the craziest story I've ever heard about tomatoes. And that's not the wildest part. Some people even thought tomatoes could turn your blood to acid. And from that point onwards, your new neighbor will no longer think of you as just the lady down the street. In her mind, you're now the expert gardener who knows a lot of cool stuff and is a fascinating storyteller who brings history to life. And that, my friend, is how you want people thinking of you. Now, I know what you might be thinking. Gardening sounds tedious, or maybe it's not your thing. But like I've just demonstrated, it's not about doing the coolest thing in the world. It's about taking what's already unique about your current hobby and making some interesting stories out of that. Don't worry about being boring. Whatever makes you passionate can be your gateway to a vibrant personality. The key thing is to be relatable. For example, in gardening, don't share complex information that a non-gardener might not understand. Gardening, huh? That's cool. What's the most interesting thing you've learned? Did you know that tomatoes are scientifically classified as fruits, more specifically berries, because of their fleshy structure and presence of seeds? Okay, I guess. Always talk about aspects of your hobby that most people can relate with. Despite what you might think, people will be patient and curious to learn about almost any topic, as long as you explain it in a way they can understand. The moment you start using complex terms to sound smart is when you lose them. It's why a good storyteller can make even the most ordinary experiences sound fascinating. Now let me teach you how to weave fascinating stories that entertain your friends. To become a master storyteller, you need experiences worth sharing. It's about living life fully and gaining wisdom along the way. And let me tell you, wisdom doesn't always come with age. It's about the richness of your experiences. Some time back, I was talking on the phone with a lady, and she was complaining of how boring and uneventful her life is. She would constantly say, "I don't have any stories. My life is boring." So I asked her, "Where do you live?" She replied, "Madrid." I said, "Why not ride the train from Madrid to St. Petersburg, or take the journey all the way to Vladivostok? Ride the Trans-Siberian Railway. It'll cost you about $300. Then she hit me with, "But what if I get robbed?" And I responded, "Exactly. That's exactly the point. Imagine it. What if you do get robbed and survive? You'll have one heck of a story to share when you get back. That's the whole point." The secret to interesting stories is a touch of risk. You can't just be an empty vessel if you want to tell memorable tales. You have to embrace challenges and do things that scare you a little. Risk adds intrinsic value to your experiences. When you take bold steps, people can't help but want to hear what happened. Your coolest stories will always involve a twist. Something went wrong, you almost made it out, or a narrow escape. These are the moments that'll have everyone begging for more. So go out there, take risks, and gather stories that will leave everyone wanting to hear what happens next. And that, my friend, is how you become the most interesting lady in the room.
Walking down this lonely road, every step feels like I'm home, lost but never quite alone. I'm fading into you, every whisper, every scream, caught between the in-between, holding on to shattered dreams.